Hi guys, I'm Heady. I'm running for Heady Administrator again. I've done it for a while. So yeah, I've kind of given this spiel several times. Basically for this one, I'm just going to let you guys open up, ask some questions. I don't feel like I need to explain a whole lot other than what you guys want to know. So without further ado, questions. Yeah.
I know you want to try and make some more community weapons, things like that. Other than that, is there anything you want to do or change, really?
Down here is kind of the most stagnant of all the games in UGL. That's just because of its design and just because it's not something that normally segues like HVZ or Capture the Flag. It's definitely more of a center game. However, I do believe that we have some progress to be made in terms of outreach to other groups and others such as that. But that first requires the community weapons to be able to say, hey, come play with us because we have the stuff to play with.
Speaking of building, I know we had one build day, which seems to be very successful. I know we've got quite a few people with their own weapons now. Would you be able to teach people how to make things? Like not just like show up, make your stuff, like actually have like a day of just, this is how you like taco fold, or if you're making a hammer, this is how the head doesn't go flying off to somebody.
Damn it, Justin.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, we can actually do that. I'm kind of getting to the point where we're finding in UGL we do not have the funding to be able to fund out like an actual, oh here, just go build weapons. Because as we've seen, we go build weapons and then we get some individuals who quite promptly destroy them. Because it's a new community, you guys are new players. I'm not expecting you guys to not go through some stuff. As far as teaching you guys how to build stuff, I would love to do that. I think winter is going to be much better for that just because we're not going to have practice every Wednesday like we have this time. Winter's kind of that segue period where, oh, we don't get as many new players, we don't get as many new people. The people that come out are the people who want to play, really just want to come out and play. Those are the people that you're going to want to teach. Next questions. Wilson.
So going on with the weapons, there has been a problem with the weapon shortage. How are you going to fix that? Will you be doing it yourself with the moderators, or will we have like a building program?
I've been doing some tinkering with the mod staff and kind of put the ear in a couple of people that I know for suggestions, aka previous admins. They have suggested, as much as it's a terrible thing to ask of the players, to start kind of a fund for DAG itself rather than a UGL fund, where we say, hey, we want new community weapons, we'll buy new community weapons. I cannot afford it out of pocket by myself. I'm not going to pay for it out of pocket by myself because it's going to turn into something where I'm going to have to replace hundreds of dollars worth of things every couple of, well, each admin's going to have to replace plenty of weapons. It's going to cost them a lot of money. So I think we need to develop some sort of program that everybody pitches in to make a good product.
You talk about funding DAG. What about funding UGL? What ideas do you think you can bring?
As far as funding UGL, as much as it's terrible to say, we have no sort of system that allows us to collect money. We are very much a, hey everybody come play and enjoy yourselves. That's all well and good, but it's hard to give out soup when we don't have the kitchen to buy it in. So I do feel that we need to come up with some sort of plan to start getting funding into the organization, whether it be actually outreaching to those governmental organizations that'll give it, or
sure, but I mean,
getting it ourselves.
You see, HVZ has bandanas, right?
Right.
CTF was going to have bandanas, something happened. Anyway, the point is there's ideas for that. So what can you bring, merch, whatever that you
DAG
can
here
think
lends
of?
itself very, very openly to that. I actually had an idea regarding a website I have found that I bought my personal weapons from. They have supplies to build starter weapons, which are not designed to be like the super long-lasting best of everything. They are durable and they are functional. They're cheap. They're easy, and to fund that, it's not going to take a whole lot of downtime, and then we can make a good profit back on it. So, okay, next questions. Nobody? So, does anybody got any little comments they'd like to make? Anything they'd like to know? Yes?
Can I make an anchor?
It'll be difficult, but we'll discuss it. So, we will talk about it. Jules?
How much rage do you feel towards the Gaddafi?
I do not feel much.
How do you plan on trying to bring new members into DAG?
DAG here is one of those sports and games that we try to do it through just being there. It's very difficult to be like, hey, come play with our foam swords, because the instant image they get is, oh, you're those nerds.
Nerd.
A lot of it comes from people that are walking up like, oh, this is cool, that's awesome, and then they tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends. And eventually we get a lot of people. That's basically what I've done the past, what, has it been like 2 years now I've been 3? Dang. years, I'm old. 3 years of being an administrator, I've seen the group go from 7 or 8 dedicated, super gung-ho players to now, as you guys can see, we're running into 20, and one time we did have a 30 practice. So we have doubled our population, we're continuing to grow, and we're finding more and more diversity in our group.
Going with the idea of, oh, you're those nerds, do you have any specific ways to kind of break through the stigma, aside from the already mentioned, like getting new players? Just as a general, instead of just getting players, just kind of getting people to see it differently as a whole?
I found that the best way to do that is to avoid a lot of, oh, here's jargon. You need to explain it to somebody who's never been in the system before. Whenever you're talking about it, you don't talk about it like, oh, I got totally hit this guy with a red, and blah, 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 blah. You need to say, so we did this, this is our sport, this is what we do. You need to use the language that they understand. If you go at it from what we know, you're just going to be that nerd. If we go at it from what they know, we're an acceptable group. It's kind of a sociology thing.
If you get elected administrator, who would be your moderators?
Moderators currently would stand as Alex Weisner and Drake Dishman. That will be likely to change as I need to start thinking about who's going to come after me, because this would probably be my last semester, guys. I plan on doing this by, if not removing them as moderators, just adding to my moderator staff, or adding some sort of like pseudo moderator that says, hey, you're here to learn how to be an admin, this is what you're going to be doing, you're going to be running a practice or two to get anything going, understanding the game. So, any further things?
Because we have to ask, how will you screw up the game?
How I screw up the game. I find myself to be very lax when it comes to rules mongering. I know in the past there used to be a lot more structure in place in regards to, you know, how you use a weapon, how somebody gets a hold of being able to use a weapon, and that's shown in some of the community things. However, I also feel like from that, I've developed some sort of program that says, hey, you don't have to be this gung-ho about this silly game to play, to enjoy it, to come out and see every Wednesday, this is something to do. So, further questions? All right, so I'm just gonna go over a couple things that I had in mind, just going with that again. I'm looking into some possible outlets for community weapons. There's a website called Warlord Sports. They provide a kind of, I would say kind of like a sword tube sort of deal that you put over your own cores. Very cheap, very easy to get a hold of, and they're a great company. They would be very interested in that. Yes, Wilson?
What are they like, pool noodles left acceptable?
They are like if there's pool noodle and there's blue foam, they're kind of that awkward stepchild in between. They're not as nice to work with as blue foam, because obviously it comes in a tube, but they're not pool noodle and are gonna break down super, super quick. So that's the thing. Big thing about it though, it is cheap, it is easy to replace, and it's safe. That's the big categories that says this is probably a better outlet for community weapons than, let's say, buying 7 rolls of blue foam and spending several $100s on it. So, finally, just to let you guys know, we still are going to be doing practices hopefully on the Wednesdays. We're looking into possibly getting a Saturday practice rolling. It becomes one of those things that I think people get busy and the situation is there, but it's not there. So as soon as we start getting a better population and a better guesstimate of what days are better for people, we can start shifting that around. Kind of in final statements then, again, this is my last semester as this, so after this I'm going to be looking, as if I were to be elected again, I'm going to be looking for that successor person. I understand that we kind of have an electoral thing going on. Daga here is kind of a weird spot on that. You need somebody who's educated in the sport. Capture the flag, you can hand somebody flags, say go play capture the flag. You've been there. Not to say that's a bad thing about it. HVZ, it's difficult to run. You need to be on a moderator staff. Daga here, there's a lot of safety stuff. There's a lot of construction stuff. There's a lot of things you have to keep in mind when you're watching every single one of those people out there. I feel that even if I were not to be elected, I would like to be able to help the next person who's there. They need to learn those before proceeding too far. So, do what you feel is best. Personally, I would like to be elected one more time and just be able to help them out, give them one more semester. But if you feel like the next new blood is needed, feel free, bring them in, and I'll give them the best help I can.